A very good afternoon to one and all, and welcome to this very special live masterclass from Academy for Skills in Nutrition, Health and Research. Before we dive straight into today's masterclass, which is on the fake paneer saga, a dietitian's perspective, I'd like to introduce Academy for Skills in Nutrition, Health and Research, or ASNHR, to you, as well as I'd like to introduce to you Nutrition Society of India, the collaborators for today. So ASNHR, we are all about upskilling and reskilling, and we provide masterclasses and courses in upskilling and reskilling. Our vision is to make India a world leader in the field of integrative nutrition, health, and ethical research. Our mission is to upskill and reskill individuals in nutrition, health, and research, and create a better and healthier tomorrow through education. Why do we need to upskill and reskill? One, because medical research is upcoming. We need to stay relevant. We need to make ourselves valuable for different associations and our job stability. Upskilling and reskilling increases our chances of landing higher jobs and better jobs. It's a world of micro specialization, and it also helps us discover our new passions and personal development. So if you want to upskill and reskill yourself, hop on to our website www.asnhr.com. I'd like to introduce to you, before I go ahead, I am Dr. Neha Savalkarungta. I am the director and founder of ASNHR, and I'm also the secretary for NSI, or Nutrition Society of India Mumbai chapter. And it's a great pleasure for me to introduce NSI to you. NSI, or Nutrition Society of India, was established in 1967, and it's an association of professionals, nutrition professionals, programmers, and policymakers from India. It's a recognized representative of International Union Nutritional Sciences through adhering body Indian National Science Academy and Federation of Asian Societies. We do a lot of things such as disseminating results of latest research, analyzing current status of nutrition in India, and recommending strategies and promote programs at a larger community. We do this by conducting community outreach program, by conducting lots of seminars and webinars, and also by doing means of publications. NSI Mumbai chapter is one of the most active zonal chapters, and you can know more about NSI Mumbai chapter by going to NSI Mumbai chapter website, which is www.nsimumbai.org. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce our speakers for today. First of all, it's Ms. Taneem Abuji, who is a PhD scholar at HCJMRI, Hirabai Kawazi Jahangir Medical Research Institute, Jahangir Hospital, Pune. She has an MSc in Clinical Nutrition and Dietetics, an advanced diploma in diet counseling for weight management. She's a certified diabetic educator and a certified renal nutritionist. She's also a UGC NET set qualified. She's won multiple prizes in multiple conferences. She's a gold medalist from Dr. BMN College of Home Science. She's also won the Dr. KU Naram Award by AFSTI, and she's co-authored an ebook called Salt and Sodium. Our next speaker for today is Ms. Fiona Sampath, who is a clinical dietitian at Kokilaben Dhirubhai Ambani Hospital and Medical Research Institute, Mumbai. She has an MSc in Clinical Nutrition and Dietetics, postgraduate diploma in Sports Science, Fitness and Nutrition, certified diabetes educator. She's done multiple skill-based courses such as course in renal nutrition, bariatric surgery, research, practical approach, awareness training program, awareness training on food safety and hygiene aspect for tribal entrepreneurs, and human anatomy and physiology. And she's passed all these courses with fantastic grades. She's also published research paper such as Impact for Nutrition Education on Dietary Patterns and Menstrual Cycle in Adolescent Women in International Journal of Creative Research Thoughts, and she also has multiple papers in abstracts to her credits in many international journals. So without further ado, I'd like to invite Ms. Taneem, who's our first speaker for today, and take forward the proceedings for the day.
Thank you so much for the beautiful introduction. I'll just share my screen and we can start with the session. Okay. So a very good afternoon and a warm welcome to one and all who has joined us on a YouTube live on a beautiful, warm afternoon today. Today we are here to actually commemorate World Food Safety Day 2025. This is an initiative in collaboration with Nutrition Society of India Mumbai chapter. Okay, now this year's food safety theme was food safety, science in action. And here today we are in this beautiful and a special webinar on the topic of the fake Paneer Saga, a dietitian's take. So today we are discussing about paneer, which is found in almost all the Indian households. We all know paneer is basically a powerhouse of nutrition. However, it is also very much prone to adulteration. So me and my colleague Fiona, we are going to discuss the science, the adulteration, as well as the clinical aspects of the paneer saga. Let's dive into it. Let's first understand about a little bit about paneer. Paneer is basically a traditional dairy product which is obtained by curdling of milk using food grade acids such as lemon juice, vinegar, or citric acid. It is basically a non-aged dairy product. And if we talk about the nutritional standpoints, paneer is a good source of high biological value protein. It contains all the essential amino acids, which are very much important for for our health. It is also a very good source of calcium and phosphorus, which is important for bone health, as well as it contains B vitamins and certain essential fats. This essential fats not only provide us with energy, but also helps in the production of hormones. Now, according to NIN and ICMR guidelines, the paneer contains approximately of 18 to 20 grams of protein and approximately of 20 grams of fats per 100 grams of paneer. However, obviously, it depends on the milk which is derived, the paneer which is derived from a particular milk. It could be cow milk or a buffalo milk, and on the basis of that, the paneer nutritional status might differ a little bit. However, the paneer is very much important, especially for the vegetarians, since it has become a staple source of protein for the vegetarians. Besides this, it is also very important across all the age groups, including children and adolescents for growth and development, for pregnant and lactating mothers to meet their protein requirements as well as to meet their calcium requirements, and for older adults and elderly in order to preserve their bone and muscle mass. Since elderly are likely to be suffering from osteoporosis or sarcopenia, paneer has become a great source of providing calcium to them. However, because of this increasing demands, there is also increase in the industrial malpractices and unethical adulteration, which has resulted in posing health risks to the people. Now, let's talk about fake paneer. Fake paneer, as such, is not a legal term. However, a paneer is described to be a fake if does not comply with the FSSAI regulations, which are set in the year 2011. Also, the paneer, which is made from the artificially synthesized chemicals or artificially or non-permitted substances or the food items, non-edible food items, then that paneer is considered to be fake. All of this adulteration is done just for reducing the cost or to cut down the cost of the production of the paneer. This fake paneer might look or appear very similar to your normal paneer, but it will lack the nutritional integrity as well as it will pose the health risks if consumed over a long period of time. Some of the common adulterants which are found in paneer, first and foremost, is your starch. Starch is added into the paneer in order to increase the bulk or increase the volume of the paneer. Second common most is your detergents or emulsifiers. Detergents are surfactants. Basically, they are added to the paneer in order to give the fat layer or to mimic the fat structure and to create a creamy texture to the paneer. Next is urea. Urea is basically a nitrogenous product. It is added into the paneer in order to simulate the protein content in the lab test. For example, if someone is performing a lab test in order to identify the protein content, we all know protein is a nitrogenous compound. That is the reason urea, because of the presence of nitrogen, it will simulate or it will mimic the protein content and giving us the false result. And lastly, there could be some non-edible acids such as washing soda or caustic soda. These are added in order to cause the curdling of the milk. In some cases, washing soda can also be used as a whitening agent in paneer. Now, urea and non-edible acids together are called as synthetic milk solids. Now, moving towards, let's understand what are some of the FSSAI guidelines set. The Food Safety and Standards Authority of India has classified paneer under the category of milk and milk products. In order to ensure the consumer safety as well as to maintain the product integrity, the FSSAI has laid some regulations for the production of a standard paneer. So this some of the rules includes that the paneer should only be curdled with the acidulants which are permitted. This acidulants permitted includes only citric acid or lactic acid. Other parameters include the moisture content should be less than or equal to 60%. The minimum of fat percentage should be 50%, and the protein should be minimum of 20%. Beside this, no artificial colors, preservatives, urea, non-edible acids or bleaching agents should be present in the paneer. If we talk about the packaged paneer which is available in the market, it should comply the labeling regulations set by FSSAI. For example, the label should include all the ingredients used for the production of the paneer. It should also mention which type of milk is used for the production of paneer, as well as the total fat content or the total fat percentage should be mentioned on the label. If any paneer product fails to comply or fails to meet any of these parameters, then that paneer is considered to be fake or unsafe for the consumption. Now let's talk about science. So now we know that obviously there are going to be some adulteration present in order to be called as fake paneer. We are going to go through some of the scientific methods to identify the presence of adulterants. The first and the most viral detection of the fake paneer nowadays is iodine test. But mind you, in true sense, iodine test is used for qualitative analysis of carbohydrates, particularly for starch. The basic principle behind this test is the iodine, it binds to the starch, resulting in the formation of a blue-black colored complex, which indicates the presence of starch. Again, the process of identifying the starch in paneer is very simple. Mash the 1 to 2 grams of paneer, take it in a test tube, or at home you can take it in a white plate or a small container. Add approximately around 10 ml of boiling water. Let the sample cool down for some time. Then add 2 to 3 drops of iodine. Now the iodine used is usually 0.1% of the weight per volume. This iodine is dissolved in potassium iodide. That is very important to know, because of which it is going to give us a bluish black color. The observation is if there is a color change observed, that means there is a presence of starch in your paneer. If there is no color change, it indicates absence of starch. Now let's learn a little more in more detail about the science behind this. So it's very simple. Basically, it's a chemical reaction which takes place between iodine and starch. Now, starch here we are referring to amylose structure. Amylose is basically a polymer of a linear glucose chain which is arranged in a helical structure. Helical structure is basically a spiral structure. Now, the iodine, which is dissolved in potassium iodide, they form polyiodide ions. This polyiodide ions, because of their smaller size, they slip into the helical structure and get trapped. The interaction between the helical structure and the iodide ions result in the charge complex. The formation of this charge complex, they absorb the light from the visible spectrum and emits the bluish or purplish color, because of which it shows that the starch is present. Now, it is very important to know that it does not associate with any carbohydrate per se, but it only give us this result because of the structure. So it is the reaction between the molecular structure of the amylose and the iodine structure. However, you need to be cautioned about this. There are obviously iodine test, it is very simple, very easy to perform, it is rapid, does not take much to perform this practical, you don't require lab apparatus. However, this is not a foolproof method to detect starch or to detect the adulterants present. How so? Because it can give you false positives as well as false negative results. False positives, to give you an example, for example, if someone is testing the paneer in a cooked form, in a gravy form, or in a coated form, if the gravy is made up of the starch, or say for example it is a corn flour based gravy, obviously the paneer is absorbing the starch from the gravy, and then it will give you the positive results, which is a false positive result because we are not getting the positive from the paneer itself. The second cause could be that the paneer has the tendency to attach to the surface contamination. That is, if the paneer is kept in a starch containing utensils, the paneer can absorb the starch from the utensil and give us the false positive results. Similarly, if we talk about the false negative results, is basically false might be if the paneer is old or dry, it would not absorb the iodine solution properly, and therefore they might not give us the result that we are looking for. Secondly, what if the paneer, if the starch content is very low or is not evenly distributed throughout the paneer? Again, we might not get the results. And lastly, if the paneer is uh, and lastly, if the paneer contain some chemically modified starch, that is, the amylo structure has been destructured, it might not give us the result because the iodine reacts with the helical structure of the starch. That is the reason. Beside iodine test, there are multiple tests which are given by FSSAI at at home based levels in order to identify the different adulterants present. Why? Because obviously starch is an adulterant, however it does not impose it's any toxic or say severe health implications as compared to other adulterants. So what are some other adulterants and how we can identify? First is your detergent test. Detergent, as Sam earlier said, it is a surfactant. Now, what do you mean by a surfactant? Surfactant is basically it has a polar body, that is, it has a hydrophilic head and a hydrophobic tail. Here what happens is when this detergent is dissolved in water, because of the polarity it reacts because of the polarity it reduces the surface tension of the water, resulting in formation of micelles. Micelles are basically a small globules which traps the air along with the fat and oil present. So using the same principle, we are going to test for the paneer. Basically, again, take a small amount of protein, approximately say 10 grams of protein, mix it with 100 ml of warm water and shake it vigorously. If there is a persistent formation of foam or froth, then it indicates the presence of detergent in the paneer. Now, mind you, again, here we are referring to a thick leather or a thick foam and not just the bubbles. Okay, if a thick leather is formed, then it indicates the presence of detergent. However, if it's just a small bubbles, it could be normal paneer. Because of the presence of fat in the paneer, it forms bubbles in the water, since since the fat and water are immiscible to each other. Next test is for urea test. Again, urea, a nitrogenous substance. It has the ability to leach into the water and increase the alkalinity of the water. Alkalinity could be tested using the pH paper. So similarly, we are going to test the pH of the water in which the paneer is dipped so that we can identify the presence of urea. Again, you can use pH strips or pH paper or litmus paper, or there is something known as bromothymol blue or BTB strips. These BTB strips are basically a pH indicator strips which has a color range from yellow to blue to green. The yellow indicates acidic nature, the blue indicates the neutral nature, and the green indicates the alkaline nature. So what happens here is, again, if we mix the paneer in a warm water, the urea will leach out into the water. It will increase the alkalinity. And when we test it using a pH paper or the BTB strip, if the color shifts to the blue or green, it indicates the presence of urea. Again, it is a possible test. It is a preliminary test. We cannot confirm anything using this home-based test. Now, lastly, trust your senses. Sensory checks are very important because in addition to your chemical test, this sensory checks or the sensory evaluation will give you some important clues by which you can easily identify if your paneer is normal or a fake paneer. First, check for the color. If it is slightly off white or creamy color, that means it is a normal paneer. However, if it is full white, chalky in color, that means it could be adulterated paneer. Next, check for the texture. If it is crumbly, if it is a slightly rough texture, that means it is a normal paneer. If it is too slippery, rubbery, and too smooth, then it could be adulterated paneer. Next, check for the smell. If it smells like a little milky dairy, that means your paneer is original. However, if it smells a little sour, a pungent smell, then it could be adulterated paneer. Then check for the taste of the paneer. Again, if you taste it, you will get mild, somewhat salty. Then it means your paneer is normal. If you get a sour or a bitter taste or a synthetic taste, then it means your paneer is adulterated. So these are some of the red flags, and you should trust your senses in order to identify whether you are eating is a normal paneer or a adulterated paneer. Now, since we have discussed a lot about science and detection, let's see what are some of the scientific evidences on the ground level. So here we have will walk through some of the cases of India where the adulteration of the paneer has been observed. First study is of Noida, which was conducted in the year 2018. Here, the municipal food inspection took around 120 samples of the paneer, and interestingly and shockingly, approximately 83% of the dairy samples failed the quality checks. And 40% of the paneer was labeled as unsafe because of the presence of detergents and starch. Next study is a Nagpur study. Here, multiple regions around Nagpur were evaluated for the paneer adulteration. And this study was over the period of 12 months from the 2017 to 2018. And shockingly, all the regions, that is 100% of the paneer was found to be adulterated with starch. So, if we conclude this study, it means that it is not just about a bad vendor, but overall, it is on a large scale and an industrial level, the paneer is being adulterated. In Nagpur study, some of the samples were also found to be containing harmful dyes. Uh, Considering that a Nagpur or the Maharashtrian region being a vegetarian region, and considering for protein, paneer as a protein source, harmful dyes and adulteration imposes health risks to the individuals consuming it. Next study was an independent study was conducted in Wardha and Gondia districts, and the results showed that approximately 13% and 33% of the paneer samples in each district respectively was showed to contain starch, and this test was done using the iodine test. So as we saw how the iodine reacts, the similar science has been used in practical to identify the adulteration of paneer. Lastly, there was a viral case in 2022 where a very renowned restaurant was falsely accused of serving adulterated paneer. However, on further investigations, a critical flaw had been found where the tests was misinterpreted because the iodine showed the positive result because of presence of the starch in the gravy and not the paneer itself. So, in order to conclude all this, that this means yes, misinformation, spreading of the misinformation is false. Vigilance is good, yes, but you cannot directly interpret a paneer to be adulterated if the iodine test shows positive. There are multiple tests that you could use at the ground level or the home base level to identify the paneer. Now, I would like Fiona to take over the session. She will help you to understand the clinical implications and how to counsel the patients about the paneer.
Thank you, Taneem. Okay, so let's go ahead. The first and foremost, the reason why we are conducting this program is because of us are social media users, and we have come across various videos where people are looking
Fiona?
all. Hello. So people are looking and testing these, especially the IOD test that has been done on big food chains or local food chains, and they, like Taneem spoke about, the test that was falsely positive, because of which there was a lot of problems now that occurring. Now, what happens when this paneer turns problematic? When we talk about real paneer, like Taneem said, is a nutrition powerhouse. It is a high quality protein ranging from anywhere between 15 to 18 grams in 100 kgs. It is a rich source of calcium, phosphorus, vitamin B12, healthy fats, and it is a complete amino acid profile as well. It is a staple protein source, especially for vegetarians, in children, in elderly, and pregnant and lactating women. When there is adulteration or when there is fake paneer in the market, it does have a lot of health implications. How does it affect our health? Let's talk about that. First and foremost, because it is a fake paneer, it is made with synthetic milk. The nutritional profile that I just mentioned about real paneer is missing. So first and foremost will be the protein deprivation. Fake paneer, like I said, is made up of synthetic milk, which is a mix of starch, flour, surfactants. That being said, that it is also deprived of the protein that comes naturally from the milk, and it also lacks all the essential amino acids. Secondly, it's also low in calcium, which leads to no bioavailable calcium, which then has an effect on your bone health and your overall skeletal muscle mass. Next is empty calories. Now, excessive starch that is put in in the paneer to create the bulk. It increases the carbohydrate content of the protein of the paneer. It reduces the protein content. It increases the glycemic index because of the starch, which is again not a safe option, especially for diabetics. And lastly, it gives you a false satiety. When we talk about false satiety, it tends to be more filling at the moment because of the starch content in it, but because it lacks protein, it does not meet the metabolic demands, neither is it a long lasting satiety. So you end up with a hunger crash that happens later on, which further increases the undernutrition that a person might already be facing. In patients, especially with malnutrition or sarcopenia, or who are recovering from an illness, such protein substitutes become very unreliable because it can hinder their healing or muscle repair. Next, please. Next. Now, what are these health? So, this was the health hazards of the paneer itself. The different adulterants that are used, they have their own sets of implications, their own sets of health hazards. When we talk about starch, like I said, starch increases the glycemic load of the paneer itself, or the fake paneer. It is also indigestible. It reduces the protein and calcium ratio of the paneer, and it leads to unstable sugars, or it leads to unstable glycemic control, leading to more variations in the sugar, which is again a part which is not good for the diabetics. Even for a normal individual, the variations in the sugar is not healthy. Next, detergents. Now, detergents are something that are corrosive. They will have an effect on the entire GI lining. With consumption, especially for a long period of time, it will lead to vomiting, it will lead to diarrhea, it will lead to ulceration because of the corrosive nature of the detergent. Urea, like Taneem said, it does mimic protein. Now, because it mimics protein, it might overload the kidneys, because it is removed from the it is extracted from the kidneys. Now, because it mimics protein in the labs, it will give you a wrong protein content of the paneer. It will overload the kidneys, leading to a kidney failure in the long run. Washing soda is very similar to detergent, which also has a corrosive effect, which irritates the GI lining, and it can have a lot of GI discomfort, a lot of bloating, vomiting, nausea. and can disrupt the mucosal integrity of the GI lining. When this mucosal integrity is disrupted, a lot of your food or nutrient absorption and digestibility is also affected. This overall leads to a lot of malnutrition, micronutrient deficiencies in an individual. Next, please. Now, the long-term effect of fake paneer in specific groups. When we talk about children, it leads to stunted growth, weaker immunity, again because of the calcium and protein that is not present in the fake paneer. For pregnant women, it leads to poor fetal development. Like I said, normal paneer is a rich source of vitamin B complex, which is very important for the fetal development. When this is absent from the fake paneer, it leads to poor fetal development. For the elderly, it leads to sarcopenia. It increases the risks of falls and fractures because it leads to lowered bone density, lowered muscle mass in these groups, and it also leads to, because of the paneer, that's because of the calcium and the protein that's absent. For diabetics, we've been speaking about this, about the unstable glycemic control and the sugar levels, which leads to higher risk of them developing diabetes and their changes in the sugar levels. And for the general population, it can lead to micronutrient deficiencies, protein energy malnutrition. Next, please. How to approach this as a dietitian. Now, when we talk about patients coming into the OPD and talking about, because it has become so popular that brands are doing fake paneer, restaurants are doing fake paneer, you don't get actual paneer. Patients do come in and ask us, ma'am, what we are eating is correct or not, or how do we approach this as a dietitian? First and foremost, you will assess their dietary recall. You ask the patient about the packaging, the smell, the origin, the taste, whether it was locally bought, whether it was bought from a brand, whether it was bought from a dairy directly. Ask about the origin and all of the details surrounding that paneer. Secondly, it is your duty to educate the patients and not scare them or whatever, or tell them that whatever you are eating is fake. Every time that we are talking about foods that are going to have adulterations, you need to be smart about how you are educating the patients, because you don't want them to be scared or not eat these foods. These foods, like I said, are important in your daily diets, and we need to make sure that rather than inducing fear, we are emphasizing with them and telling them how to be aware of it. Tell them the basic test, the sensory test, how to check the paneer which you're getting at home, how to check for the authenticity. You educate them about these things rather than scaring them. Next, recommend the preventive steps. Now, for me, the best preventive step that you can tell a patient is to prepare your paneer at home. If you yourself are buying the milk and making your paneer at home, there are the chances of adulteration become very, very low, or it's absolutely zero if you're preparing your own paneer. So that's the best preventive step that you can take. Apart from that, you can talk to the patients to take certified brands. Now, majority of these certified brands will have an FSSAI logo, or will have a it will have a branding from the FSSAI, which will say that it meets up all the standards that the FSSAI has set. Next is when your symptoms affect. Now, patients do come in and tell me that, after I ate this paneer, my stomach hurt, or this happened, or I had some nausea, I had some vomiting. When these symptoms starts appearing, you need to make sure that you have to recommend proper hydration. You have to give them a proper clinical consult, which will include a lot of tests to undergo, so that if at all there is any kind of health implication, we try to catch it at the root and start working on that rather than wait for it to manifest later. Next, please. So the common questions and how to answer them. When we talk about in the OPD, can restaurants and local dairies be trusted? Not always whenever we talk about restaurants and dairies, but yes, there are few vendors that might use some fake ingredients to cut the cost, but it's always advisable to ask. If you're buying it from a local vendor, you need to ask them the sourcing of where they are getting the paneer, or if it's an FSSAI certified brand, then you can be trusted, because like I said, it will meet the FSSAI standards. The best is if you can use homemade paneer or the trusted labels. The big brands that use it can help to reduce the chances of adulteration. Can I just rely on branded paneer instead of testing? Now, branded paneer often will be more safer, as it will always have an FSSAI certified, or if it is FSSAI approved, then yes, a branded paneer would be a proper choice to go to. However, you need to make sure that it is packaged correctly, it is stored correctly. A lot of times, even the big brands can have a slip up where, because of improper storage or because of bad batches, you can have adulterated or bad paneer in that batch that's there. So in such cases, you always rely on your sensory test. You always check for the manufacture date, the texture, the smell, the look of the paneer, the feel of the paneer. And if you're buying from local shops at all, a quick test at home, maybe the shake test, or maybe the crumble or your sensory test, will never harm, and it will give you a better peace of mind as well. Next, please. So, how does fake paneer affect weight loss and muscle gain? Now, when we talk about weight loss or muscle gain, real paneer is an excellent source of casein protein. When we talk about casein protein, it is a slow digesting protein. It is a perfect example for bringing in about satiety and for muscle recovery as well. So, because the fake paneer does not contain the actual milk product, or it lacks this casein protein, it can have an effect on your weight loss and the muscle gain, because of which it offers no protein basically, which leads to a disruption in your fitness goals. It does not provide satiety, making you hungry more often, making you eat more often, or ending up eating more and binge eating. So because of which it can have an effect on your weight loss and muscle gain. Next, please. Can paneer made from synthetic milk look and taste the same as real paneer? Absolutely yes, because synthetic milk actually mimics the look of real milk. There will be very slight, very small changes that you will be able to see in a normal paneer versus a fake paneer, which Taneem has already spoken about: the texture, the taste, the smell. All of this will differ about the synthetic paneer that is made from synthetic milk, or versus the real paneer. Actually, there are few studies that have shown that whatever these synthetic milk-based paneer are, there is no casein protein present in them at all. So it is very difficult to identify, but with simple tests at home or lab, you can identify the fake paneer. Next, please. Can I improve the safety of store-bought paneer by cooking it thoroughly? Now, when we talk about if the paneer on its own is adulterated, even cooking it will not make sure that you have gotten rid of all the adulterants. Yes, there are few surface level adulterants that you might be able to get rid of because of the cooking, but on its own, if the entire paneer is adulterated, it becomes difficult to remove all the, or make it safe for you to consume all the, or remove all the adulterants from the paneer itself. So cooking it thoroughly has nothing to do with reducing the amount of adulterants. It's the source rather than the just the cooking that's there. And lastly, next please. Is organic paneer safe? Now, organic, I think, has become a big trend in the market, whether it's social media, especially. Everything that has been marketed recently is with the terms of being organic. When we talk about organic, when it is coming from a certified dairy, or if it's coming from a certified brand, or if it's coming from somewhere which is FSSAI approved, yes, then organic paneer will be safer. When we talk about organic paneer, it basically means that 100% of milk is used to make that paneer, and no other form of adulterants are used to make this paneer. However, the preparation, the sourcing, and the certification will always be the gold standard to check whether even if that label of organic is correct or not. So you need to make sure that there is an FSSAI label, it is a certified brand, and ideally if you can make it at home, it is the best type of organic paneer that you will be able to find in the market. Next please. So, Taneem did speak about it, testing paneer raw versus cooked. Now, whenever we talk about testing paneer, a lot of these social medias are recently testing a lot of paneer in different big brands or big chains and claiming them as fake. But what people don't realize that at that point when that paneer is being tested, it has been tested after it's cooked, after it is mixed in something. Majority of these restaurants or before the usage of paneer, what we do is coat the paneer either in some corn flour or some starch to make it more crispy so that it fries better. But if you are checking the realness of paneer post that, what you are getting is a fake positive. What happens is you need to understand that testing on the paneer must be done raw, if it's preferable, if it's a fresh paneer and not kept outside for long periods of time, it should not be mixed with any other ingredient, or it should be tested before you're cooking. Whenever you test any kinds of cooked paneer, even at home when you're planning to do a small test, you need to make sure that you are doing it when it's uncooked and fresh. When you cook the paneer, it alters the texture, it alters the color, it also alters the starch gelatinization that's there. So if at all it's a fake paneer, it will alter the gelatinization of the starch in the paneer, which can hide the adulteration or the marks of the adulteration. Another thing is chemical test may give false positive post heating because of the other foods that are there in your curry, or whether they are there in any kinds of mixture that they are done. And lastly, the sensory evaluation, the basic and the easiest test to do. If once it's cooked, it's all gone. You cannot be able to do any kind of sensory evaluation, whether it is touch, feel, taste, any of these will not be able to do, because by the time it's cooked. So it's always important to remember that whatever testing that you are doing on your paneer has to be raw and not in the cooked or not in any forms of ingredient added forms. Okay, next please. I just put in a simple recipe for those who don't know how to make a paneer at home. This is the best kind of organic paneer that you can make. This type will make sure that there is no adulteration. It is safe for you to eat, and it will also give you all the nutrients that the paneer actually has. So you basically take a liter of cow milk, preferably pasteurized. You can also take buffalo milk is fine. Once put it on the gas, put it on the stove, put it for a boil. Once it boils, reduce the heat, add a teaspoon of maybe some lemon juice, some vinegar, or some citric acid, and wait for it to curdle. Once it starts curdling, you stir gently. Once the entire milk has, the curdle has separated from the whey and the casein, you strain it. When you strain it, whatever curdled milk that is left, you take that in a muslin cloth, you wash it off so that all the sourness from the lemon or the vinegar that you have used is washed off. Squeeze it gently, pack it nicely, and put it away for 1 or 2 hours so that it forms a good, a block of paneer. Additional tip, whatever water or whatever whey that you are removing from that casein, or whatever milk that you have curdled and removed the water or separated, that on its own is a whey water. That is also a very very rich source of protein, which is generally, you must have read in all the majority of the protein powders do use a whey based compound. So this is a very good source of protein which you can additionally add in your cooking, other cooking preparations, to add the added benefits of protein through that. Next please. Guidelines as a dietitian and as a consumer. For me, yes, because I know the difference, it becomes easy for me. But for you who may not know what to do, how to do, what are the basic guidelines that you need to follow while you are buying a paneer? So you always buy certified paneer. You purchase from an FSSAI certified vendor or the brands which do have the FSSAI certification or are FSSAI approved. Next, please. You do a sensory check, the basic home sensory check of the texture, the smell, the color, the feel. All of these are basic tests that you don't need any extra equipment or chemicals to perform at home, which can be done within a minute also. So try to do those tests. Conduct periodic iodine and water tests at home. So for example, if you have one fixed vendor from where you bring the paneer, once in a while maybe you can do the iodine or the water, the shake water test at home to make sure that there is no adulteration in the paneer. Next, lab confirmation. If at all you feel that there is a suspicion of adulteration in that paneer, maybe a small part of it can be sent to a lab, an accredited lab, for verification whether it is actually adulterated with all of the other adulterants or not. Next, please. So the key takeaway is paneer, yes, being a major source of protein, especially for vegetarians, it is also at a higher risk of adulteration. A simple iodine test, which is helpful, but it is always not the best indicator, or it is not a comprehensive solution to finding whether the paneer is fake or not. A multiple different tests can be done to make sure that the paneer that you're eating or the paneer that you're getting at home is not adulterated. And lastly, you need to spread awareness, you need to educate others, and you don't need to scare them or you don't have to induce fear. You need to make sure the correct guidelines, the correct detection methods, and the correct steps to be taken are spread rather than just spreading fear in people. And I would thank you. That's it from my side. I do see there are a few questions from the audience. So we'll take that one by one. Tanim, I think you can go for this one. The dairy samples checked were branded or loose from the dairy.
If we are discussing about the studies conducted, most of those includes the local paneer samples, which are regularly used by the consumers in the region. But obviously, there were certain studies where it was found that some of the brand might also have adulteration. Although there are not many studies which shows that the branded paneers are adulterated because of the FSSAI mark, and obviously some of the results, that is because that there could be minor contamination, but we cannot consider them as adulterants. So obviously the researches which were taken in the slides and during the presentation were from the local brands or the local dairies. Okay. Fiona, there's a question for you. That is, what are the best practices for storing and handling paneer to ensure its freshness and quality?
So when we talk about storage and handling of paneer, it's always preferable to have your paneer freshly made. And if it's freshly made, it is always best to consume that paneer within 1 or 2 days, because it is made from actual milk. It tends to get bad faster. So you need to make sure that you're consuming it within 1 or 2 days of making that paneer, or if you're buying that paneer. And if at all there is any kind of leftover paneer, you pack it nicely in an airtight container and store it in the refrigerator, so that the heat or the temperature around does not have an effect on it. So the milk which gets spoiled due to keeping it outside for longer can be used to make paneer. Now, in this case, it will also depend on how old the milk is. But what you can do is you boil that milk again, put a few drops or a tablespoon of lemon into it, let it curdle. Once that paneer is made, you can always taste the paneer, whether it is in the condition to be eaten or not. Generally, if it's like not more than 24 hours, the paneer, that milk can be used to make that paneer. Tanim, I think you can take this one. What to do if the milk coming in our homes are adulterated?
Okay, now again, obviously there's something known as synthetic milk solids, which is basically your urea and caustic soda or washing soda. So there could be that the milk which you are using to made a homemade paneer is adulterated. So obviously, it is very difficult to identify the adulteration present in the milk. However, similar like the discussed test, that is your detergent test or your say for example urea test, this could be performed in the milk itself in order to identify the presence of adulteration. So yes, if at all, if you are making homemade paneer and you have a doubt or a suspicion that if the milk which is being used it is adulterated, you can perform the home-based test. Again, these tests are FSSAI approved, and if you want a detailed step by step, you can obviously go for FSSAI on the website of FSSAI, and you can refer the steps in order to perform the tests. There are tests available in order to identify the adulteration in milk particularly.
Last, I think we'll take this. Any regulation that FSSAI has for dairy analogs like fake paneer?
As per the FSSAI regulations, the revised regulations, per se, no analogs or the regulations for the analogs have been finalized by FSSAI. However, there are like the paneer, which belongs to the dairy milk and milk products category. There are various other products of milk based products for which the FSSAI has laid down some regulations. But per se, the analogs has not been regulated by FSSAI.
There's another
Okay.
question, which is, what's your call on tofu? Is there any possibility of adulteration? Now, tofu is basically a similar type of paneer. While paneer is made from cow milk or buffalo milk or a dairy-based milk, tofu is something that's made from a soy-based milk. It is made from soya milk. The possibility of adulteration in that is also there. Again, because the base of the milk, however different, a dairy versus a soy-based milk, the adulterants that are used is more or less the same. So even if it is a tofu, the chances of adulterations are there, and similar tests can be done for the tofu as well. There are guidelines that you can find on the internet, on the FSSAI website, to identify the adulterants in tofu as well.
Okay, there's a question. Paneer made using vinegar and milk is accepted as real paneer, as slide mentioned citric acid and lactic acid only. Okay, so I'll like to answer this question. So basically, it's like at home at ground level where we are talking about the vinegar, lemon juice, or citric acid, we are discussing about the homemade paneer. Whereas the FSSAI has laid down these guidelines specifically for the products which are made at large scale, that is industrial based paneer or the products which are formed and packaged. So in such conditions, the branded paneers or the paneers which are produced on large scale must only include acidulants like citric acid and lactic acid. The FSSAI has also denied using vinegar in production of paneer for a large scale production. Okay, I think we are done with the question answers.
Any further questions, I think you can leave it on our YouTube channel or where it's being streamed live, or you can leave it on the ASNHR website, and we will get back to you with all the answers that are there.
Thank you so much, Taneem and Fiona. for the wonderful session. I'm sure a lot of our participants had many questions, and you've explained everything beautifully and answered everything. So before I share instructions regarding the quiz and how you can get your certificate, I'd like to talk to you all about our next upcoming masterclass, which is on coming Friday at 4 p.m. It's on gut-brain axis, and the class is going to be taken by none other than Dr. Geeta Dharmati, who's an absolute expert in this field. And she's going to be talking about what is gut-brain axis. She's going to be discussing a case regarding leaky gut. She's also going to be talking about psychobiotics, which uplift our mood, nutritional psychiatry, adult gut health testing, and some simple actions for lifelong health. So if you want to register for the course, please go to www.asnhr.com and click on courses. You can just simply click on the gut-brain axis and then click here to purchase the masterclass. As for how you can obtain the quiz, you can obtain the quiz by, obtain the certificate. You can obtain the certificate by attempting the quiz, which is on our ASNHR portal. If you've not registered for the course via the ASNHR portal and are seeing the course directly on our YouTube channel, please go to www.asnhr.com and register for the Fake Paneer Saga course. Therein, in the course content, you will find the quiz, and you can attempt the quiz and you can get your certificate. You will get only 2 attempts, that is 1 plus 1, only 2 attempts to solve the quiz. Against the advice of my team, I've increased the time limit for every attempt to 15 minutes. So you get 15 minutes to attempt the quiz twice, and you have to clear the quiz with 80% because this is a very simple quiz that we've set up, and you can get a certificate for having completed this masterclass. So, and no class is ever complete without thanking our audience. So at the outset, I'd like to thank all of you all for registering for the masterclass. And we cannot complete this masterclass without thanking our 2 amazing speakers, the young and dynamic Fiona Sampath and Taneem Abuji. They are also our backend team, and we are so happy that they took the front stage this time and they delivered the class today for all of you all. And last but not the least, but very, very importantly, I would like to thank the Nutrition Society of India Mumbai chapter for collaborating with us for this fantastic masterclass and bringing this awareness to the audience at large. So thank you so much, everyone. We hope you have a fantastic fantastic Tuesday evening and a great week ahead. Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.